Hello everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be my Backlist Readathon vlog. I just spontaneously decided to participate in the Backlist Readathon. I participated in it last year and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't even realize that it was happening until I saw it like posted this week on social media, and I was like, oh, I did that last year, I should do it again. And then I was looking at my physical TBR and there are quite a bit of Backlist books on there, so I was like, let me just participate in this little readathon. So it's running from the 12th to the 18th. On the 18th though, I have another 24-hour slumber party readathon with my friends, so I won't be reading anything, at least I don't think. I mean, I could. Some of the books that I have on that 24-hour readathon TBR are Backlist books, so I could technically still count it, but I'm just going to do a whole separate vlog for that. It is currently Saturday, so it is the day before it starts, but I figured I would pop on and film a little intro about the books that I plan on reading and the prompts that I plan to use those books for. I will leave all of the information about this readathon and the announcement videos and the host channels and everything linked down below. But yeah, let's get into the TBR for this week. So I have my little TBR kind of sitting up back here. Some of them I don't have the physical copies for, but the first one I'm going to talk about is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I have been meaning to read this for a little bit now. I think I picked this up in February and I was like intending to pick it up in February. Maybe I even bought it in January. I don't know. But this will be my first Brandon Sanderson fantasy. I have this weird thing with Brandon Sanderson where I just have this like feeling of annoyance about him and like not wanting to read his books, but I have also a feeling that I will love his books if I read them. I don't know what it is. I've read and DNF'd one book by him and I did not get very far into it. That was Skyward, but sci-fi is not my jam, so maybe that had something to do with it. It had my biggest bookish pet peeve in it, which is like made up swear words. So I ended up DNFing that one, but this is a fantasy. And Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader loved this. And I want to read it just to like get over this thing. I don't know. But I'm going to use this book for the prompt of a backlist you thought about unhauling, because I didn't literally think about unhauling this book. It's just the one that like if I was going to unhaul a book, it would probably be this one. Like off of the TBR, because it's Brandon Sanderson and I have this weird thing with him. So I don't want to unhaul this, but it's the only one like of the books that I have and want to read that I would consider unhauling purely because of that weird thing that I have with him. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to read it. Hopefully I'm going to finish it. Hopefully I'm going to love it. So it's finally happening. The next prompt is a backlist from an author that you've read from before, and for that I'm going to use The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. So I have read The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and I've read Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, and I really liked both of them. This is the sequel to The Atlas 6, and I've been meaning to pick this up because I don't want to forget too much of what happened in The Atlas 6 before going into this one, so I do really want to pick this up, and I think technically it counts as a backlist because it came out last year. Is that how it works? Like a year? I guess I technically don't know what counts as like a backlist. I'm gonna count it. That's what I have planned for that prompt, but we'll see if that counts because it did come out last year, so it's like her newest release. Does that count as backlist? We're gonna move on from that one. The next prompt is a backlist from your favorite genre, which my favorite genre is fantasy romance, and so I'm going to continue the Guild Hunters series and read Archangel's Consort by Nalini Singh. This is the third book in the Guild Hunters series. It is a fantasy romance following a like vampire hunter. I did really enjoy the first two books. They're very quick to read, and I want to continue reading the series while everything is still fresh in my head. So I'm going to continue reading this. This is the third book, like I said. So favorite genre, fantasy romance, picking up a fantasy romance. Okay, the next prompt is a backlist chosen from a number generator. So when I did a number generator, I had 3 books left on my like TBR for this. And so I did 1 through 3. I got 3, and I'm using The Emperor of the Evening Stars by Laura Thalassa for this one. So this is like book 2.5 in the Bargainer series. This is the little novella, which I'm going to be reading for Sahar's Fanro book club. And I figured a novella would be good for like a week-long readathon since I already have 3 books on this TBR. I thought this would go by pretty quick. It's about 200 pages. I just finished reading the second book, so this is where I'm at in the series anyways, and I have to pick it up anyways for the Fanro book club. So I thought I would include this one. And then the last prompt is to do one of the co-hosts prompts. And so Jacqueline from Jacqueline Wheeler, her prompt was to use a color wheel and pick a book based on that color. And when I spun the wheel, I just like looked one up on Google and it landed on teal. And I have the perfect book for that. It's Always Only You by Chloe Leese. So the whole background is like perfectly matched up with this teal color. This is the second book in the Bergman Brothers series, which the first one I read years and years ago, but I read The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese in December, and it's now one of my favorite romances of all time. And so I want to read more from Chloe Leese's Backlist, and so what better time to pick up her Backlist than the Backlist Readathon? This is a hockey romance as well, and I'm just really, really excited for it. I know my friend Cami loves this series, and so I'm really excited to get to this one, and it just fits so perfectly. There's also a bonus prompt, but I can't remember what the bonus prompt is, but I do know that none of the books that I have fulfill that prompt, so I'm just gonna skip the bonus prompt. But yeah, this is my little TBR for this readathon. Hopefully I can read all of these in a week. I don't know. I mean, I have the audiobooks for most of these, so that will help. But yeah, I'm really excited to read all of these. I think the first one that I'm gonna pick up is probably gonna be either Always Only You or Archangel's Consort. One of these two. I haven't decided yet. I'll think about it, but that is the reading plans for this week. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully I can read all of these. That would be amazing. So I will check back in when I decide what my first book is gonna be and like when I start reading that. Hello everyone. It is Sunday now, so it is officially day one of the Backlist Readathon, and I'm already changing my TBR. I know I already took the thumbnail for this. I took it yesterday. I was just like digging how I looked. I had all of the books. I don't know. Anyways, one of the books on my TBR is now being sold on Pango Books. I'm unhauling it. And that book is Always Only You by Chloe Leese. So hear me out. I was really excited for this book. I really like The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. It's one of my favorite romances ever. And so I want to pick up more of Chloe Leese's Backlist. However, this book has several instances of my biggest bookish pet peeve. I can't move past it. This is just like a deal breaker for me in books. If it happens once, then usually I'm annoyed, but I can let it go. But when it happens over and over and over again, I'm like, I can't. I get so annoyed. I talked about it a little bit when I was talking about Brandon Sanderson, but it's made up swear words or like using random words in place of like a curse word. It bothers me so much. So like in Skyward, in the Brandon Sanderson book, it was the word scud. And I swear to God, she must have said scud like 15 times in the first 50 pages. And I was like, I'm done. I cannot read this book. This is terrible. So I just DNF'd that one. Lumberjanes, the characters say, what the junk? And I literally threw that book across the room. I hate it so much. In this book, Lachlan was sending pictures because like Lachlan, being one of my best friends, knows about this pet peeve of mine. And she's like, every time it happens, like I laugh and like think of you. And I was like, oh my God, is it happening in Always Only You? Because she's reading it too. And she was like, yeah, a couple times. And I'm like, oh my God. So then she's sending me pictures of the made up swear words. Or like words in place of curse words, and it was like carbuncles, dewberries, and I was like, okay, I'm not reading that. Like, as soon as I get to that, I'm instantly going to be like annoyed, and I'm gonna DNF it, so I'm not doing that. I think she said she was about like 125 pages in, and it happened about 3 times, and I was like, that's 3 too many, honestly. Like, once I can overlook it, and I'm just like, still annoyed by it, but I can move past it and focus on the book. But 3 times in 100 pages, no. So anyways, I'm not gonna read that book. I'm annoyed. I did also try, because I know it's like Cammie's favorite romance series, I did try to read like the first few pages of it, and Chloe does a lot of telling versus showing. So this is supposed to be a reverse Grumpy Sunshine, and the first like 3 pages, the main character just drives it home that she is grumpy. She calls herself a storm cloud multiple times. She says I'm grumpy. She talks about how she has an RBF and how people know not to expect sunshine from her, and she's a walking storm cloud and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we're 3 pages in and I get it. You're a grumpy person. But then I'm like, am I just being hypercritical because I know about these like swear word replacements? So now I'm just like already like I've got an attitude with this book. But yeah, I don't like when authors take a trope and then they like shove it like in your face and just tell you like this character is grumpy, this character is sunshine. Like, show me that. Cassian and Nesta, reverse grumpy sunshine. They never have to say she's grumpy, he's sunshine. But I know because of how it's written. Anyways, yeah, I'm done with this little rant. I'm not gonna read that. I'm not even gonna count it as a DNF because I think I only read like 5 pages of it before I was like, yeah, I could just tell that I've already got like this attitude with it. So anyway, so now I need to replace that book to fulfill the prompt of the color wheel. So I'm still gonna stick with teal since that's what I got in the color wheel, but I don't have teal on any of my like physical TBR books. But I did want to pick up A Mirror Mended by Alex E. Harrow at some point this year, and this is a little novella. I have the audiobook from Scribd. It's like an hour-long audiobook. It's really short. And it's book 2 in the Fractured Fables series. So I read A Spindle Splintered whenever that one came out, and so I've been meaning to pick this one up, and it has teal on the cover. So I'm like, I'm just gonna count that one. Even though it came out last year, I still don't know if that counts as backlist or not. But at this point, like, I don't even care. So I'm gonna listen to this one. I did start it and I'm only a few chapters in so far, but I'm gonna go finish it now. It's tough to tell like the synopsis of this one because it's a novella, but the first one is basically, it's like a Sleeping Beauty reimagining almost, where somebody from our world ends up accidentally pricking her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and like gets transported to a different world, like into a fairy tale where there is a Sleeping Beauty that needs saving. And so the main character, I don't even remember her name, Cassie, I can't remember. She basically tries to like help solve this, but like she's from our world in like placed into a fairy tale. And I think that kind of like her being able to jump into different worlds and like different fairy tales and stuff is what's happening in this one. And I think it's supposed to be like a Snow White reimagining, but she's like supposed to help the evil queen, I think, because the evil queen is not actually evil. That is what I'm going to be currently reading. After that, I have no idea what I'm going to pick up next. Something from my TBR, but I don't know. So that is going to be it for this little check-in. I will update tomorrow and give you my final thoughts on, not A Spindle Splintered, what is it called? A Mirror Mended, and then let you know what else I decide to pick up after that. All right, hello everyone. It is Monday evening now. I am just about to go onto a live show on Sahar's channel for the Fanrail Book Club for A Strange Hymn, but I figured I would pop in before I go do that and give you a bit of an update. So yesterday I finished reading A Mirror Mended. It's really short, so there was that. And I don't know, I didn't really care for this one that much. Like, I guess I wasn't as invested in the main character as I thought I was, because I was like, I need to pick up the sequel, and I just like didn't really care about anything that was happening in this little novella. So if there ever is another like book in this series, I probably won't pick it up because I just like, I'm good with leaving it right where it's at. I don't want to say too much about this one since it's so short and since it's a sequel, so I'm not going to say anything other than my rating for it, which is like probably a 2.5, maybe a 3. I don't know. Honestly, yeah. Like 3 because it's like, it exists. Like, I don't have any bad feelings towards it, I just didn't care. So probably a 3. But then I decided to veer off my TBR yet again because I am who I am. And I decided to pick up Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. So this is a sports romance set in Ireland, and the sport is rugby, and it's at a secondary school, so they're in like high school. And the main character, Shannon, is getting like really badly bullied at her first school, and so she has to go to this like private academy basically. And the star captain of the rugby team, Joey's her brother, Johnny they meet and it's their romance basically. I'm not too far in. I'm 107 pages in, so I'm just at the beginning of it. It's really, really long. It's almost 600 pages, like Mariana Zapata length. And the font is so tiny. It's so small, but I'm really, really liking it. I can't wait to keep reading it. I'm also listening to the audiobook while I follow along, and the narrators have Irish accents, which is just great. It really helps when they use like Irish slang and like Irish terms, like when they say lad. If I'm reading that, like I like hearing it in an Irish accent. But yeah, I'm really liking it so far. Definitely sure to be an emotional read, just with all the things that's going on with Shannon. So yeah, I'm excited to read more of this. I picked this up purely based off of Lachlan's recommendation. Not that she specifically recommended it to me, but just like hearing her talk about how much she loves this series. And yeah, I'm really, really liking it. So I can't wait to continue reading this. I don't know if I'll continue reading tonight, because after the live show I kind of want to keep watching, like doing my rewatch of Normal People, but I don't have a prompt that fits for. I could use the number generator thing and say it generated the number 3 and this has a 3 in the title. I could do that, I suppose, because it's definitely a backlist. I think this came out in 2014. Yeah, so it counts as a backlist. Also have something to unbox here, so let's do that. Oh, well. Okay, so this is a Pango Books order, and it is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Lachlan and Cami both absolutely love this book, and Cami said she thinks that I would love it. Rachel read it and was kind of like meh about it, but I want to give it a try, so I might be picking this up. When did this come out? Could this count as a backlist book? It came out last year. Well, I've already used something from last year, so who knows? Or I might pick it up for my 24-hour readathon. But yeah, I'm excited to pick this one up too, so all good things. All right, so now I'm gonna go hop on that live stream on Sahar's channel for Estranged Him. I better go grab my book off of the bookshelf as well. So I will check in maybe when I get a little bit farther into Binding 13, probably tomorrow though. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hello everyone, it is Wednesday night now, and I figured I would give you a reading update. I meant to update yesterday, but I didn't, so here we are. I have been reading Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I am just over halfway now. I'm on page 363, and I'm really, really liking this. It is very long, but it doesn't like feel too long. I don't know if that makes sense, because like it does feel long, because I'm like, dang, I've already read like almost 400 pages and this story feels like nowhere near ready to wrap up. And I know it's not going to wrap up in this book. I know there's 2 books following Johnny and Shannon. But yeah, a lot is happening. Her dad is just like an abusive piece of shit and I hate him. But I really love Johnny and Shannon together, and it's pretty cute. It definitely is like insta love, but not like in an annoying way, because like they literally meet and they're both like just kind of fixated on each other, but there's things like holding them back. Obviously Shannon and like her secrets with her family life, and then Johnny is like very focused on rugby, and that's like all he wants to focus on. Like he doesn't want to like Shannon, but he can't help it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I will continue reading this tonight, and I don't think I'll be able to finish it, but I'll definitely get close. I'll probably end up finishing it tomorrow. But I also have an unboxing to do. Look how cute this package is with the pink stars. It's so cute. I know what this is, but I'm so excited for it. So it is a sweatshirt from Bookish Dreamers, and it is a pink crew neck that's embroidered, and it says, "Probably reading Sarah J. Maas." How cute is that? Rachel, Lachlan, and Cammie all have matching ones, so now we're all like a little Sarah J. Maas matching crew. I'm so excited. It's so cute. So yeah, I am starving now. I'm making a pizza while I film this update, and I'm gonna go devour that thing and read a little bit more of Binding 13. Hello everyone. It is Friday now. Brandon and I just got back from a fish fry and a Target trip, and I have some reading updates for you. So let's start with reading updates. So first reading update is I finished Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, and I really enjoyed this. It's kind of like what I said in my last update, where it's really long. It's like almost 600 pages. So it feels kind of like a slow burn Mariana Zapata book, because it never felt like where I was like, ugh, I'm bored, I don't want to be reading this anymore. It definitely felt long, but it didn't feel like boringly long, if that makes sense. Where I'm like, it was a lot to read, but I was here for every second of it. And also it's like insta-lovey, but it's not at the same time. Like the two main characters, Shannon and Johnny, develop feelings for each other like really quickly, but they can't like express those feelings or be together. There's always something like holding them back or like stopping them from saying what they really feel. So it feels like a slow burn, even though like you're in both POVs and you're like, okay, they're obsessed with each other. But the way this one ended, I was like, I need the next book. Like I need to read the next book like very soon, because it ends quite intensely. I will also say there is some major trigger warnings for like domestic abuse and child abuse. So if that is a sensitive topic for you, I would skip this one, because there are some scenes that are like very descriptive and hard to read at times. But yeah, I really love Johnny and I really love Shannon, and I am really excited to get to their next book, which is called Keeping 13, which I'll just, you know what, I'll just open it now because it got delivered today. So I'm just gonna Okay, so here's Keeping 13. So the covers are matchy. So it's like just as long. Like, yeah, it's about 600 pages, so it's just as long. So I'm very curious though with how this one ended, like how we're gonna get 600 more pages. Because like I said, you already know the main characters are like obsessed with each other. But it's like a slice of life kind of book. You're just like living their lives with them, like them going to school, Johnny doing rugby. Of course there's all the like emotional stuff with Shannon, like her home life. But yeah, I'm gonna end up giving Binding 13 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to get to Keeping 13, and then I'm sure I will be picking up the next book, but I think that's all about Joey, which is Shannon's brother. That one's called Saving 6. That's my update on the Boys of Tommen books. So then after I finished Binding 13, I was like, okay, we're winding down the Backlist readathon. I've got a 24-hour readathon coming up. What should I read next? Thinking maybe I will pick up like a short book that I can read in like a day. However, I chose to start not a short book and not a book that I can read in a day. I started reading Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I am currently 150 pages in to Warbreaker, and I'm really bored. I read the prologue and I was like, yes, absolutely yes. I was hooked in the prologue, and I was like, I'm so happy, because I wanted that from this. I was so nervous going into this, thinking that I wasn't gonna like it, and I read the prologue and I was like, oh, this sounds great. I'm instantly hooked. And then we get to the first chapter, because the prologue is how long? The prologue is like 10 pages, and I was like, that's the way to start a book right there. Like, I was intrigued by the magic system. I'm intrigued by this character that we meet. And then we get apparently 3 other points of view. And there's 2 sisters. There's Ciri and there's Vienna. Is that her name? Viviana? Something like that. Something with a V. And one of those sisters has to get married off to this god king. And we get Ciri's point of view. We get Viviana's point of view. And then we also get this, like, god who doesn't feel like a god or whatever. His name is Lightsong, and like he's supposed to be a god, but he like doesn't believe in the religion that he is apparently a part of or something like that. So yeah, 150 pages in, and I'm so bored. Like after the prologue, I was like, this is what I wanted this to be. And then after that, I was just like, oh, all right, well, never mind then. Like, I just literally don't care. None of these characters are interesting. None of what's happening to them is interesting. I will say the magic system in this is interesting. It's like based off of colors. Biochromatic magic. It's like they call it the breath. But yeah, it's like drawing upon the color of everyday objects. But I'm so bored. I just like, I don't feel connected to any of the characters. Like the only interesting thing to me was the prologue, and we've moved past that. We're following different POVs, and I'm like, can we get that feeling back from the prologue? Because like that was a good prologue. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not gonna give up on it quite yet, but I'm feeling a little bit hopeless because I feel like by 150 pages, I should be liking this, or at least be like interested, and I'm just not. I can't remember when Rachel read this if she said the beginning was really slow or if she was already like loving it. I'm pretty sure she was like already loving it by this point, and I am very much not. So I'm gonna read a little bit more of it before I like do anything rash, but at this point I simply do not care. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a little bit more, like maybe another 150 pages, because like at that point I'm halfway through, and if I'm not liking it by the 50% mark, then so maybe it'll turn itself around. Maybe it'll start to get interesting. Who knows? Also, I wanted to show on my Target trip, I made a little purchase, and I picked up the new covers of the Throne of Glass series. Not all of them, unfortunately, but I got most of them. So I got them in paperback because I don't have a paperback set of Throne of Glass. I have Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight in paperback, just like randomly, but I wanted to get these in paperback because honestly, I don't need another hardcover set of them, and I just like, I want to have a paperback set. And they were at Target for 20% off, so I was like, you know, we've got the Assassin's Blade. I absolutely love this cover. I love the colors on it and the stag. Then we've got Throne of Glass. This was the first one I saw, and I was like, ooh, Throne of Glass, and I picked it up, and then it was like somebody had taken it and put it in a different spot on the shelf, and I was like, oh, they don't have any of the other ones. But then I found them, and they're so floppy. I love it. Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire. I also really love this cover with like the pines and then the hawk and the wyvern down here. Stunning. Queen of Shadows, one of my favorite covers. I think this is my second favorite. I love the red and the black. And then Empire of Storms was not the same paper as this. It was like a much like whiter paper, and it was not floppy at all. So I was like, I know that there's floppy editions of that out there, so I just decided to hold off. And then the only copy of Tower of Dawn was like the back cover was like dented and folded weird, and I didn't want to get it because it wasn't like in pristine shape. So not that I'm not gonna get it. I am gonna get it. I still do like that book. But I didn't manage to get those two, but then I did get Kingdom of Ash, and she is chunky, and she's still, oh, the flop. She's so gorgeous. This is my favorite cover. But like, holy cow, this freaking floppy, chunky ass paperback. Oh, she's so beautiful. But yeah, I still need to get Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. And I honestly have no idea where I'm gonna put them, because there's no room on my shelves. So that will be a problem. I'm gonna have to readjust some things, but I'm gonna wait to put them on until I get Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. So whenever I find those two, then I'm gonna have to readjust some stuff, but I'm so happy to have them. So those are basically my updates for right now. I am going to probably go read a little bit more of Warbreaker and just really hope that things, you know, turn themselves around and get interesting. Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm going to go do. So I will check in either later tonight when I read more of Warbreaker, or maybe I'll even talk to you all on Sunday after my 24-hour readathon, because I'm still going to count some of those books for the Backlist Readathon because technically it still goes through till tomorrow. So either way, I will see you all later. All right, hello everyone. It is now after the Backlist Readathon has ended. I just did my 24-hour readathon with my besties, the Slumber Party Readathon. And so I did read some Backlist books. However, I am not going to be able to fulfill all of the prompts for this. I am still at the same spot that I was last time I updated in Warbreaker. I think I'm like 150 pages in, so I didn't get any further in that. I could use one of the books that I used for my 24-hour readathon to read an author that I've read from before because I read some Spy Family volumes. I didn't read anything from my favorite genre though, so poor fantasy romance. And then I did do the backlist chosen from a number generator because I used binding 13 since my number was 3. This has 3 in the title. And then the co-host prompt of using the color wheel to choose a book. So I used Teal, or that's what I landed on for the color wheel, and I used A Mirror Mended by Alex E. Harrow. So I did complete 3 of the 5 prompts. Not my best if I was going to go like try to complete all of these prompts, but I still had a good reading week, and I did finally start Warbreaker, which I said I was going to prioritize this month, and I honestly wasn't sure if that was going to happen or not. So I did finally start that, and I will continue reading that, so that'll be in like my next vlog after my 24-hour readathon vlog. So yeah, it was fun to just try to read all of my physical TBR that are backlist books and like give me a goal, I guess, or like something to try to achieve for like just a regular weekly reading vlog. So thank you so much to the hosts for hosting this and creating the prompts and stuff. It was super fun. So I'm gonna end the vlog here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can let me know by liking and subscribing down below to help support me and my channel. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.